All
got-
right, look at that. Dan,
Yeah, what a good looking
Alex.
group of guys, huh?
Yeah.
Pat.
Smiling
Thumbs up.
Dan there. Hey, Dan. Alex, you're drinking something warm. It must be cold there. Patrick, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. All
Saw-
right. Pete
I saw-
jumping in.
Saw Jason there for a minute. There's
Yeah,
Lori.
We're gonna have more than a full room here.
It's awesome.
Hey, Shelly. Hi,
Fantastic.
Cameron.
Hi.
Full
Hey,
house.
hey.
Hey,
Very cool. All right, just saw Rusty come in, Brenna come in. Looks like Brenna's joining. Who else do we got in here? I saw Isaac.
Pete Nelson's trying to get in, so
There we go. Steve Smith. Our local representative.
And I'm here too.
Yep, we got you, Wally.
awesome. It looks hot, Wally.
It is. It's 90 degrees.
holy mackerel.
Fantastic. That's the Arizona weather.
It's
Actually,
not
pretty
Not-
nice. You know.
it's 90 in Illinois too, but it's just very, very humid, so you don't have to do anything to start sweating.
I
Oh,
was just
gosh.
gonna say it's 90 in Chicago right now.
Oh my
Oh, man.
gosh.
We had snow on Mother's Day, so I don't, come on.
It was 40 like 2 days ago. 3 days.
Yikes.
Crazy.
We don't have a spring. Goes from winter to summer.
Yeah.
Crazy,
Adam.
crazy.
Hello,
All right.
everybody.
Saw
Jason. Hey, buddy.
who else did I see jump in there? Jason just came in.
Yep.
Yeah, Jason's here. Carly's there too. Carly.
All right.
Hello.
Got some Bun and Sons representatives.
Yeah.
I think Lori's there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Lori's
saw
here.
Lori come in and Carly.
Tom's out shooting. Can you believe it?
Tom's we call that planting freedom seeds in Idaho.
Yeah. He said yesterday he's shooting at over 1,100 yards.
Oh wow.
Some long distance planting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what ex-Marines do. Or I guess once a Marine, you're always a Marine. So
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
that's what Marines do.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We are super pumped today. This is our first big full-scale group event. You know that we've been doing some smaller group workshops. Some of you guys have attended one or more of those. And, this is our foray into doing more of this and being able to deliver these big messages to you guys all at once. And because of the topic at hand, we wanted this to be an all hands on deck and really get everybody kind of thinking the same thing. We've talked about this with some of you in the past and brought these issues up, but we really have a pretty tight format now for thinking about the structure of your business and a lot of the stuff that Rick's going to go into on the call today. Basically, the format is Jeff and I will be the moderators and Rick is going to be our special guest of the day, if you guys want to think of it that way. So, and that's basically what we're doing. We will have a little bit of question and answer after this just to kind of bounce stuff through, but we really want this to soak in and you guys to think about how implementing the process in your business will work. And then Friday morning, we're going to have that working session where whoever wants to come back and attend that, we can actually talk about implementation challenges that everybody has in their business, use our collective hive brain here of all of these different contractors in their different markets to brainstorm the best ways to do that, stories of success, implementation, all of that in the future. So that's basically format and what we're thinking. And
But we actually have 2 parts to today, don't we?
yes,
Yeah.
we do. We have two parts to today. I was going to save the second part for later, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. That's fantastic. But the second part, we will actually be talking about some real world implementation, and a couple of our rock star clients have volunteered. Not that you guys aren't all rock stars, but rock stars in this particular area are going to share some of their results with you today too, after we talk about this this topic of the what did you call it, Rick? The clarity workshop.
The clarity workshop. Exactly.
Topic
We want
of clarity.
So just to get everybody into this, also, we wanted to make sure that you have your chat set up, because we'd like to mute you all for now, but we'd still like questions as you have them, comments. You can put it in the chat. You guys can chat amongst yourselves. You can direct the chat to an individual if you need to, if you're trying to connect with somebody. But just for the sake of now, put in one word that you're hoping to get out that would describe, you know, how you're or what you are hoping to get out of this this call. What's your mood and what you're trying to get out of here? Like one word. Put it in the chat.
All right. Isaac says time.
Somehow I knew that was what Isaac was going to say.
Cameron
And
says
that's
focus.
exactly what we're after.
Adam has high hopes. He wants transcendence. I think it might be the wrong workshop, buddy. Hype, direction. This is fantastic. Steve Smith's going to take a nap. Vision. Awesome, Lori. That's exactly it. That's we're hoping that this does give you some vision. Efficacy from Megan. I'm glad I pronounced that correctly. I know I didn't. Awesome. This is great, guys.
Wow, that auto-corrected completely wrong. It was supposed to be efficiency.
Efficiency.
Well, it's very close in the same route, so it's okay.
Yeah, so we'll take it either way. Brenna
Exactly.
straight up wants the money. I love it. Give me the money. Adam Barnum. Okay, no, this Adam, you're in the wrong workshop.
That's
We're
a
not going to
different
have him
workshop?
today. Yep.
Yeah, that's on channel 42 where you are. Yeah.
Exactly. You might have to join a different group for that. So absolutely. Alex Slarp wants peace. This is great, guys. So this is a fantastic way for us to interact and kind of get read the room and get your guys' feedback. You can see how that chat works. And we'll just keep that up throughout the process today. Basically, whenever we can get Rick to stop his presentation and we can get feedback from you, we'll do that through the chat. And I think, well, we've got enough people here that anybody that isn't here yet, and I did see Angel Sandoval jump in, also Tony all the way from New York City, putting in some, not quite after hours, but putting in some late time. So not New York City proper, but the state of New York. So welcome, Tony. Let's go, guys. Rick,
All right.
I'm going to make you the presenter. I don't know if you guys, how you have your view set up, whether you have it as view or a speaker, but we'll just go ahead and highlight the thing that you should be paying attention to. Even if it's me talking, we're going to make Rick's presentation be the focal point here. So there we go.
All right, so we've got a little drawing here, and we want to start building out some information on this. This is part of our tool, but what we're really wanting to show is some areas of where we might be struggling and why. So this is actually going to be about problems, like where are we finding that we have problems? And if our program is called the Contractor Profit Accelerator, everybody put in the chat the first issue that you think that we're trying to solve, the first problem. Nobody's talking.
Nobody's talking. I got nothing.
Okay, we're just going to say it, right?
First problem is money.
There's not enough money. Okay.
Brenna, good job. You're the winner. You wanted the money. There's the money. Labor. Adam wants labor. Profit margins. Good
Exactly.
job. Matt. We want profit margins, not just money, but what you keep.
And a lot of owners are here and also their staff, but for everybody, we're looking for time. People are trying to get their time back because time has become one of the big issues. Just like Isaac mentioned, you know, we're overwhelmed, we've got too much going on. How do we get back time? So right now we're talking about the three kind of problems that we're trying to solve is money, time, and I'm going to add one more that might not be initially what you're thinking of, but because we don't have enough money, because we don't have enough time, what you're trying to do in your business is being affected in your business or life. And so the impact of what you're trying to do with your work, with your family, with your employees, with your community, with the clients that you serve is being diminished. The impact is being diminished. And so we want to say, these are some problem areas. How do we approach this? What's causing some of these problems? What do we do as we look at this? And we're going to just kind of take this apart, and we're going to start with profit really quickly because it's one of the easy things that we can just bring up, that we have profit leaks. We have profit leaks, and where do those sometimes come from, and how do we deal with some of them? And I'm going to suggest that there's three things that we can concentrate on really quickly as we go through this. One set of, and I'm not going to describe this in too much detail, but I want you guys to see the package, and then you'll understand why some of these things are what they are. But the first one is going to be our sales model. How we go about doing sales, how we go about bringing people into our orbit. How do we actually convert them? How do we get them? What is the sales model? And I could include things like the contract, service agreements, design agreements, the setup of what brings them into our orbit. Do we have a lead engine or not? Are we a design build company? And so we're bringing them in through our design services. All of those things are all going to be in this area called sales model. The second one that we could talk about is the management model. The management model. Who's going to watch over this to make sure that actually things stay on the rails? How will we actually be getting this work done? How many people do I need to have this be effective? And if we don't have a correct management model, is my sales model even going to work? Let alone now we actually have production over here. That we actually have to go do stuff in production. We have to actually make sure that we're not losing money on whether that's employees, labor, subcontractors, change orders, all the different ways that we could be leaking out money in production. But how we get them in, how we're going to keep everything on the rails, and how we're dealing with production over here, okay?
My
The other one that we're gonna...
favorite profit leak ever, Rick, just to share the story, is we were onboarding a client not too long ago. And we asked, do you guys know what profit leaks are? And they said, yeah, his name's Steve. He's out on the job right now.
Second favorite
Seriously,
story?
What's that?
Second favorite ones of that kind of type, you know, what's a project or a profit leak? And they said smoking.
Yeah, smoking.
The guys out in the field that are not staying on task.
Exactly. Real quick, as far as sales model management and production, if you guys haven't done this yet, you will, but it's paying attention to an organization chart for your business helps to answer all of these things. So just planting a seed for later, that when we go look at organizational charts, a lot of answers for profit leaks come out of that structure.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Rick.
All right. Next one we wanted to deal with. So, you know, again, if we're looking at the wrong sales model, I actually just wanted to do this really quickly. If we're looking at a sales model that is inefficient, then we don't have time, money, or time. If we can't keep things on the rails, we have profit leaks, and it takes more time to go deal with that. Same thing over here. We're losing money. We're losing time. I think that's fairly obvious how we're setting this up. Over here, let's talk about time. And I want to talk about ownership time really quickly and some of the problems about how this is occurring, why it's occurring. And I'm just going to highlight really quickly again a couple things. One is that owners typically are wearing way too many hats. You're trying to do it all yourself. You don't have what you need. You are often restricted because of profit leaks and the problems that show up right from the beginning. You don't have the ability to have a true team, and or you don't know how to get them. So you're wearing too many hats. You don't have a team. You're cycling through things. There's also several mindset issues in here about do we believe that we're the only one that can get this work done? Or are we saying that nobody else can do it as well as I can? All kinds of stuff that has to happen with understanding we're wearing too many hats and the inefficiencies that come from that. That's also, stress upon stress, sleepless nights, carrying details in your head. But then we go into team, and we could actually extend this out just a little bit and say that we actually need, the office or admin side of this, and we need the field side of this. And if we don't have it, we don't have an effective team that's going to help us with hats. So we have, in this case, we're wearing too many hats. We don't have a team. And so there's part of our problem. The second thing with time relates back to an overall business model. So I'm just going to call it the biz model. Whoops.
Bismod.
Biz model. Okay. The business model is not set up for efficiency. The business model itself does not have clarity. It does not know what we're supposed to be doing. We're just supposed to be contractors, and I thought we were just supposed to build stuff, right? Well, actually, there is a business model. In fact, we're going to get to that on the next drawing that we're going to go do. But I am also going to mention a few things over here with our business model and actually say that that's kind of the model over here. So the business model on this side and where we start to get some of these problems. And again, we're going to open this up and say the business model typically is based on revenue, how much money comes into the business versus profit. We have the entire business set up wrong because we're thinking about how much money comes in, not how much money we keep. And the next part of the business model is that there is no lead engine. And the problem there is when I have a revenue business model and an inefficient team, and I'm trying to wear all the hats, and I need to make more money because I'm having profit leaks already. When I go over here to a revenue model and I don't have a proper lead engine that's feeding me the right kinds of leads, and I take anything that comes my way, I just continue the cycle of what's happening on this sheet. We're saying, let me take this stuff, even if it's going to be a bad job, it's not part of my business model. I don't have the right production to do it. I don't have the ability because of my hats and lack of team to keep it where it needs to be. And my sales model makes me lose money because typically that sales model, which is going to be the next thing that I'm talking about over here, includes a few different points that make this just terrible. And so I want to put a few points here that this usually starts with competitive bid, which is a race to the bottom in your pricing. We generally have non-qualified clients that we have to deal with. So these are like tire kickers, right? Tire kickers, we have an estimating process that we usually have to start with because that's part of the competitive bid. If you're spending more than How many hours a week? How many clients? I'm asking this rhetorically for you to think about. How much time are you spending in competitive bid processes with non-qualified leads that you're still having to do estimates for because you're stuck with a lead engine that's not tuned to what it needs to be because we're in a revenue model and the cycle just continues. I just want you to think about this for a second. And then because we haven't figured out non-qualified, we're often doing the wrong job size. And I want to talk for a second about why job size matters. We have many clients that tell us, I'm too busy. I don't know how to be able to reduce this. I need to hire an estimator. I'm stuck doing the estimating. Let me hire an estimator. And we said, well, how many jobs are you trying to do? What's the average job size? And they said, oh, let's say, most of my jobs are between X and X, and I'm trying to do a large number of them so that I can get the most revenue in. And we said, well, guess what? If you could get the same profit without having to do the same number of jobs, number one, you can reduce the number of jobs that you're taking by getting more profit, fixing profit leaks and fixing your business model, okay? The second part is when you are dealing with qualified clients, the number of visits that you have to go do, the number of conversations you have to have, the number of whether you change competitive bid or your estimating practices or not, you've reduced the number of them right from the get-go. And we can thereby, through 2 or 3 methods, actually make sure that we're actually only talking to the right number of people at the right time so that there's actually less jobs that we have to take overall. You could reduce the total number of jobs from, in one case, I know of a company that was going bankrupt doing, I think it was $2.5 to $3 million, and they did over 400 jobs because they did not have this nailed down. Slightly less extreme example would be a company was doing $50,000 to $100,000 jobs, and they needed 40 of them to figure out what to go do. Well, if you want to do less than 40 jobs and you've been running all over the place and you feel like you need an estimator, what could you do to solve that that's not on here already, or that you could point to one thing? Put it in the chat.
That's a great point, Rick. Let's have everybody, if you've done any thinking or any process around this, what you've done to solve that revenue trap, and look at, how that impacts your job size. Fewer jobs at higher cost. Bingo, Rusty. Simple and easy. Cameron says pre-construction development agreement or design agreement.
Yeah.
Pre-construction services agreement. Exactly. All the same thing, guys. Fantastic. Reduce overhead.
I'm really queuing in on what Rusty said. Fewer jobs at higher cost. If our client was getting, needed $40,000, $50,000 jobs, I'm just using this as an example, you could say, well, if you simply bump that up to 100,000, we have 20 jobs. We have 20 less. We've cut the number of appointments, the number of estimates, the number of job sites potentially that we have to go visit and manage. We've cut it in half simply by just doubling the job size. Now, for some of you doing large new builds, that doesn't scale at the very, very top end, but it's something to keep in mind. How will we go about doing this? What works for us within our business model? Okay, that's the business model size. I'm going to add really quickly one more, and then I want to know what you would add to this as a sales model. What are you thinking I'm missing here? Okay, if anything, let's just get some feedback. Your contracts. In your sales model, you're using contracts that are not effective or that keep you in profit leakville because of how they are set up. They're either capping your income potential or causing negotiation battles or arguments about your business processes, open book kind of situations. But what else would you say is in a business model that maybe I'm missing?
If you guys have anything else, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Let's see if we're missing anything. Rick, I guess you've thought of all of the answers. Nobody had anything else to add.
Nobody has any more answers. That's it.
Labor pool, bingo, very good. Poor agreements with subs,
Scope of
nice.
works.
Exactly. Labor pool, subs or employees, fantastic. So as that relates to bad plans and scope of work. Okay, so sales model not identifying that. Production, yeah.
I mean, I could see how labor over here could be a driver in your sales because you can only sell what you can produce, right?
Absolutely. I think that has a huge impact.
And Isaac's right. Every one of us has over one time had an insane client. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yep, crazy clients.
crazy clients.
Where would you say crazy clients could be dealt with? As much as possible. As much as possible. If you don't know the answer to this right now, the Mental Institute. Yeah, before you start, Isaac is exactly right. Jason said design phase. Alex at the handshake. Patrick is actually the closest to what I was thinking. Qualifying them before you start. How can you qualify them before you ever get anywhere?
That's fantastic. Exactly.
James had an important one, capturing the big 8. That was huge.
Exactly. And that's actually in part of this,
Right.
how we can get there by adjusting some of these problem areas. This sales model is a problem, the way that things are typically set up. But James is exactly right about setting up a process for success. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay.
And set a realistic budget. Yep, from the start. Exactly, Jason.
Okay. Problems. This is why contractors stay where they're losing money, losing time, and losing the impact in their life and employees, business, community, whatever. This is why we stay here. This is a whole set of problems. How many of you guys are finding that this is clarifying for you already right now?
Let's get clarity in the chat if we've created any clarity around business model and some problems in the business. Adam says, yep. Patrick says clarity. Clarity. Yes, yes. Awesome.
Okay, good.
Hands up. Fantastic. Lots of yeses, lots of clarity.
Well,
all right.
This is my intro, and I wanted to bring up the intro here. Actually, I did want to just say that again, this keeps us on the hamster wheel, so we don't have any time here. We also don't have any money here because if we have a revenue model and we want to go get more jobs, and I already can't produce them, and I can't find the time to estimate them profitably, and I don't have profit to go hire my team, see how each of these starts to lead into the other thing. Okay. Same thing with lead engine. I could go on too many calls, too many referrals, and I lose time and money again. If I don't have this, I'm wasting time estimating for tire kickers that don't match what I actually want. And again, you kind of know where I'm going with this. Every one of these
time, money, and impact on that one. Sales model has a huge impact.
Impact on lots of stuff. Okay. Same thing. We lose time because we have to go do everything. We're losing money because stuff falls through the cracks, and our business model is not set up efficiently and has profit leaks. So again, just wanted to mention that there's the problems right there. Okay. We're going to flip the page, and this is where we want to spend more time in understanding what we can do about this. And I want this part to be the real clarity kicker for you guys. All right, let's say in our business model, based on some of the things that we were saying, we want to use 5 questions. 5 questions, 5 answers, and get real clarity on how we can adjust what we're doing. What are we asking you to do? Many of you are new with us, and some of you have been with us for a long time, and you'll know some of these things, but I want to say for everyone, this just applies to everyone. If you are struggling, if you have not been able to hit the goals that you want, these 5 questions and 5 answers, I guarantee you, is where we will find answers for you in moving your process forward, okay? Somewhere on this sheet is how you're going to be able to really get your business aligned. And it's not that this sheet is the only thing that you can do in your business. We want to make that clear, but this is what we're saying, the fastest path to results. If all of our new clients, if you want to know the over the horizon radar view of what's on the other side, where are we taking you? What's the big picture? It's going to be what we're going to show you right here. Okay. We have 5 questions, 5 topics, and 5 answers. I'm going to start writing this out for you guys. Okay. And we're going to start our conversation right here. You guys ready for this? The first question we're going to ask is, who do we serve? And that sounds easy to answer, right? I have a business. I'm a contractor. I need to go do something that has to do with contracting, with building stuff. And you're going to find that there's actually quite a bit of a difference in how we want you to think about this. So the first question is, who do we serve? And the topic that we're talking about now is the target market.
Real quick in the chat, let's hear you guys throw in, who do you serve? 1-word answers. We serve ourselves. Yeah, we serve the wealthy. I hope so. Who else? Who else has an answer for us? Clients who value what we do. Good job, Isaac. Yeah, I like that. Fantastic. Oops. Clients, we serve clients' feelings and thoughts. That's a little touchy-feely, Alex. But yeah, we do serve those. Absolutely. We're giving them an experience, right? But who's our target market?
This is the topic, the question
think about
here.
the topic. Who do we serve? Who's our target market? Developers, people with money.
I'm going to give you a little bit more information. This is probably the only one I'll break down a little bit more like this, but we might do a little more breakdown here and there. But I want to say that this can be broken down into person, a problem, and a, let's spell it correctly, promise. Who is this person? What is their problem? What is our promise? What are we saying here? Who will this person be? What's the problem? What's the promise? And we're just going to leave that there for 1 second. And we're going to say we have, again, if we don't know who we're serving, if we're only referral based, some of you have heard me say this, that you guys are referral based. Many of our clients start with being referral based. If you do not have a leads engine and you are referral based, that means you're doing one thing really great in your company and one thing that scares the pants off of us as your coaches, okay? One thing is that it means that you're giving your clients what they want and they are getting the outcome that they want so that they can give you more referrals. If you were doing a really crappy job, no one would refer you. And so in one sense, if you're dependent on referrals right now and you're getting them, okay, that's great. I'm glad that you're getting referrals, but referrals are not your targeted clients. Referrals are random. You have zero control over referrals. And so that's the part that scares us, because there's no way, if the economy starts to shift, the news cycles shift, your business model starts to shift, how will you go find these people that are part of who you want to serve if you're only being referral based? Who is that target market that we're trying to identify? Okay. Now, one way that we're going to think about this a little bit with the problem that we're trying to solve is how big is that problem? How big? Because that can start to help us hone in on a little bit of stuff about job size as opposed to anything else. Now, the person I also want you guys to think about, is that going to be a homeowner? Is it going to be a corporation? Is it going to be some representative of some multinational conglomerate? Who will this person be? Because we could say there's residential work, there's commercial work,
commercial.
you could do
investor.
development work, you could have investors. Who is this person that we're really trying to talk to? Okay. So I'm asking open-ended questions, but here's the point of where we want to get clarity. Okay. Here's where we want to get clarity. We're going to say that there is one answer and one answer only that we want you to concentrate on. It's not that you can't do more, but if you want to have the fastest path to where we're going to say one answer for what you want here. And again, this is one answer. Okay. And that is now, what does that mean?
And you guys throw that in the chat. If we've talked about this and you know the answer, let's see it. High-end clients, exactly. What does first-class tickets mean? White glove service, fantastic. I love it, Alex. What else?
Dream home, Dan, perfect. Yep.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. This is exactly what we're talking about. We use the airplane analogy, okay? So if you want to think about this in terms of the airplane, remember that when you have to go travel somewhere, you're going to go to the airport along with everybody else. You're going to get at the airport at the same time. You're going to hand your baggage over to basically the same people. You're going to go wait largely in the same lobbies. You're going to use the same bathrooms. You're going to wait for your turn to board the same metal tube, which is then going to leave the tarmac with everybody on board at the same time. And you'll be hurtling through the air all together with the same group of people. You're going to land at the same time, get off the plane at the same time, roughly, and use the same bathrooms on the other end, go to the same luggage turnstiles. And yet, even though that's the same basic thing that's going to happen, many people are willing to pay far more for the experience that they get on the journey. And that's the key that we're talking about. First class tickets, the people that want what you have so that you are able to serve them in a way that they get what they want. Okay. Now, if we're going to break this down a little bit more, let's just do that over here really quickly so that we can get, I know I said there's one answer, but this is a little bit complex with a few things that are kind of built into this. Okay. What are we talking about here and how do we do it on this side? Again, this is first class tickets is the person, okay? Now, this could also work for commercial. I want to understand that generally that this means primarily residential. If you can find a first class ticket, you could call this you could perform the same work in commercial, but that's few and far between in some specialized stuff. So for most of you, almost all of you, this is going to be a focus on residential first-class tickets. What are the problems that we solve? And really, I'm going to say the size of the problem that we solve, okay? And we're going to put that down here a little bit. What size of problem? And for some of you, you need to think about that in terms of what are you capable of. If we are talking about raising your minimum job size, if you're used to, 50 to 100,000 or 100,000 to 200,000, we're not going to tell you to go do new homes tomorrow. We're not going to say go do $2 million jobs or even 1 million or 750,000 whole home remodels. For you, what's a step up from what you have been doing so that you can get the benefits and say we're going to be from here to here. We will solve the problems that go from where'd my pencil go? you know, from here to here in your business. That's the problem we serve. What's the project represent in terms of a minimum job size or a maximum job size for you with this person here? What's our promise? That customer experience. The promise is the journey. That's the promise that we're offering. What is the customer experience? Again, if you know your unique value proposition, that's what this is right here. We call this a UVP or, a lighthouse. Okay. That's the promise down here. What's going to happen? Customer experience is the promise that we're going to take you on the journey safely, and it's going to be the white glove, high-end experience that you would expect. Again, first-class tickets for, generally speaking, residential, and then we're going to set the size of their problem. We're thinking in terms of the size of their problem that matches what we can do, okay? Clarity. Who do we serve? What's the topic? The target market. First class tickets, one answer. Now we had to break down that answer just a little bit, but it's still one answer. First class tickets. Is that clear for everybody?
Guys, go ahead and throw in the chat. Yes, clarity, very much so. Who else we got? Cameron, yep. James, yep, very clear. Yes, from Lori, fantastic. Nick's,
Good job,
yes.
Rick. Way to go.
All right.
We're clear so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Questions or comments at this point? None of this is rocket surgery, okay? You'll hear us say that a lot. So, you know, understand that none of this is going to be rocket surgery, but it's how we're going to put it together and how we can use this clarity chart to help diagnose problems, okay? If you're struggling, if you have challenges somewhere here, or maybe even on that other chart, we're going to be able to look and see where things are going off the rails, okay? Bruce, we're sorry too, but we'll see you in a bit. You can get the recording.
Yep, no worries.
Next question. This is the question. What do I sell? This is absolutely fundamental and one of the biggest shifts for many of you. Many of you. What do I sell? What is the product? What is the product? What do I sell? Okay.
All right, we got some
I
people.
see
leaving
good comments
pictures.
coming through. Very
Yeah.
good.
Customer experience, client experience, the experience, the process. So the answers are right on. Excellent, Patrick, the process.
Okay.
Product equals process.
One answer. What this is not. What this is not. We do not sell bricks and sticks. We do not sell countertops. We do not sell whole home remodels. We do not sell warranty services. We do not sell restoration work. We do not sell new homes. We do not sell remodeling. We don't sell additions. We don't sell the stuff that goes into the addition. What we sell fundamentally is our process. What's the magic words? If you know the magic words, Jeff's drilling this into everyone. We have
Throw it in the chat right now.
Put it in the chat.
We have a, what is it? No, not stop it, but you're close, Rusty.
Rusty's used to me using that on him.
Cameron,
Okay.
bingo. We
Yeah,
have a
Cameron.
process for success.
Okay, process.
And Adam,
For
he's always an overachiever.
success.
He wants to start it.
We sell secret sauce. So
Yeah.
guys, the biggest thing about this is that every other contractor out there, subcontractor out there, anybody in this industry thinks about selling product. Your differentiator and what makes you not a commodity and not comparable to anyone else in this field is that you sell a process, and your process is very intentional and goes to serve first-class clients. You can see how this is stacking on each other, right? So if that's clear, that process is a differentiator, let's just see you guys hit clarity in the chat, or thumbs up, or nailed it.
Okay.
Clarity, clear, C. Thank you. Nailed it. All right, I love it, guys.
The two things that I want you to understand from this is what differentiates you from being a commodity builder. Okay.
Yep.
This process for success will differentiate you from everyone else. You are not a commodity builder. You are not a Chuck in a truck or a Chuck and a dog in a truck. Okay. This is what separates the boys from the men, if I could use the phrase. This is what allows you to give this first-class ticket experience. You have a process for success. The second thing is, when we're selling bricks and sticks, what are we focusing on? There is something very particular that happens when you focus on bricks and sticks.
Price, revenue.
Yep.
Bingo. Guys,
You
nailed it.
are putting a focus on the dollars and the price, and that's not what we do. I'm going to tell you guys something that might shock you. We have clients that are selling $350,000 remodeling jobs without giving any pricing information at all. Period. They're getting the client, they're starting the process, they're signing agreements and everything else, and no, beyond basic qualifying information about budgets, no pricing information is being delivered before the process starts. Okay? Before they're in your orbit, before agreements are signed. They are selling on the basis of process. Guess what happens when you don't have to bog down in estimates because you're not selling bricks and sticks? You should know the answer. Time.
You get time back.
And you get money. Time is money. You get time back primarily, but you're also not wasting your efforts and wasting, not getting paid in a process that doesn't go anywhere. Okay. But the biggest one is going to be time. Give me your feedback at this point. What's the most impactful on this section? What's making the most sense to you? Where do you see you possibly making the most mistakes, if you're being honest?
Execution, time management, filtering clients out earlier, mistake giving time to tire kickers, losing
That's
money on the
huge.
front end, mistake in the process, execution. All awesome answers, guys. Exactly.
That's it.
This is
All
it.
right.
Scope creep.
Scope
Bingo.
creep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jenna, great point. Okay.
And the
Bingo.
client, Jason, you're right.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Hang on a minute. We were just saying target market, and we were saying that we want to solve a first-class ticket and we want to qualify quickly. Guess how we qualify quickly? The person that's not willing to follow your process. If they don't want to follow your process, kick them out. Some of you, we've told when you've joined up that we're going to turn you into a no factory. This is it. If you don't want what we have, go to Taco Bell. We sell burgers, right? If you want something else, go somewhere else.
Fantastic.
right.
Rusty, stop it. Exactly. This is where stop it works.
Exactly. All right. Next one we're going to hit really quickly is this question.
Ooh, Rusty with the technical
Yeah,
comment.
look at
Commandment number
this.
10.
Ooh, you're going to make me look
Yes.
that up? Somebody else gets to look that up because I got to keep going here, okay?
Keep going.
Who
Rick.
will do the work? In this question, who will do the work? What's the topic? We're talking about delivery method. Delivery method. Who will actually go do the thing that we're trying to do? And this relates back to you guys were asking questions and bringing up labor, and that's where we hit this. Now, remember, what are the core currencies that we're trying to hit? What do we want most out of this chart? Okay, we want money, we want time, and we want impact. That's a bullseye, but I didn't hit the bullseye. Impact, okay? Money, time, and impact. There is a method here in the delivery method of what we're talking about and who will do the work. We have this very clearly defined as one answer. Again, if you want to do something else or you want to have a little bit of a flavor on this, a spin to it, that's fine. I'm giving you the one answers that you need to be able to move this process forward. The one answer here in this case is a PM heavy, project management heavy hybrid model. So a few employees that are specialized, PM hybrid production unit. And we have a special process for finding you your team. Your team usually needs the most help when we're starting out because of the problem with wearing too many hats and trying to get time back. We have a very specific process for how we look at is the field completely going bonkers and we need some field management, or is the office going completely bonkers and do we need office help? Sometimes we need to look at that for you guys and determine it. Usually you need office help. It's too many hats. And we have a very specific process that we follow to make that person in the office be able to offload hats to that person. Okay, we have one answer here as a very specific process, a very specific type of production model that is management heavy. If you have too many employees in the field, it's a risk to you, primary risk of wasted hours, wasted, if they don't have the rails of good management, then you have a huge amount of labor risk. One of the biggest risks that you can have in your business. Carrying too many employees also is one of the biggest risks for a economic downturn cycle. Carrying employees too long can be a very difficult process. And I know we feel responsibility for them and we want to have good things, but happen with them. But we want good outcomes. But we, especially because if I want you guys to notice, I'm sorry for the stutter here. I want you to notice how this is starting to stack. Who do we serve? First-class tickets that want the good experience. What are we selling? The process. The process is what we've determined, the set of factors within our business model to deliver the journey that this person wants. Because we can charge extra for this, we can now have the employees that will fulfill this model for us so that we're not going crazy, and we get them on that production side, helping with the outcomes that we need following our process for this type of client. Is that making sense?
Go ahead and throw a yes. Yep. There you go, Cameron. Fantastic. Anybody else want to chime in the chat? I love it. One of the things I want you guys to think, yep, absolutely, Alex. One of the things I want you guys to think about with this in regards to production unit is your profit potential and also your potential for profit leaks in paying attention to your production unit and having an ideal production unit. Because the difference between employees and subcontractors with this hybrid production model is employees don't give you a fixed bid for how many hours they're going to work to do a project. Most subcontractors do. End of story.
You get capped risk.
You get capped risk. You do not get uncapped risk. You have uncapped risk with your employees. Make sense? Clarity? Adam, absolutely. Too many employees compared to management, recipe for disaster. Something that you've lived through personally. Absolutely.
I think we've
Right.
probably all lived through that.
Subs
Let me
know their
mention-
business better than I do. That's 100% correct, guys. So think about that. Employees can dig into profit margins pretty bad. Yep, that's how the big boys do it. Precisely. And there's no reason that a 5-person company can't do what a 50-person company does or a 500-person company does. It's exactly the same. It scales identically. There's no difference. Great points. Fantastic. Yes, and the big girls. Team.
They are still your team. Whether they're subs or not, they are your team. It's how you're putting the team together, okay? I also want to note that this production hybrid model works across the most options for what you determine. In other words, the answers that we're talking about scale no matter what size you are. If you still want this type of client, no matter what problem you solve, to give this promise, this model still works. This works for smaller companies. This works for the largest of our clients, okay? This is still the answer, because when you have a few employees, you can control how they are able to work on smaller projects, or how they can help with quality control, or how they can do punch lists. You control schedule and quality control when you have a few specialized all-around employees. We think that that's great for all the particular models that we're dealing with, but you have to be careful that there's not too many employees, okay? That's where there's a lot of risk. That's the gist that we're trying to make, and how this model lets you serve these lower elements. Ready for us to, yeah, let the subs worry about hiring employees. That's a good point, okay?
All right.
Are we ready to go to the next question?
Let's do it.
Give me a wave
do it.
if you're ready to go for the next question.
All right. Thumbs
All right.
up, waves. Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
And Rick, just so you know, we're at 1 hour.
Thank you.
You got it.
We can go fast through this because it starts to make more sense now, okay? Next question is, how do I convert them? Wait, Adam, this is about transcendence. Just kidding. How do I convert them? What are we talking about? How do I bring them to sign into my world? Pay me money, right? How do I get money? This is the conversion tool. What conversion tool? How do I get them to pay me the money and start the process that we are selling down here? How do we do that?
Pat, I know what you mean. Yes, that could work. Having a system. Go high level is a system. PSA, PSA. Who else? PSA. What is that
PDA for
conversion
some
tool?
of you.
PSA,
Design
PDA,
agreement.
DA, those are
Yep.
similar concepts. You are exactly right. I'm going to call it PSA into what we call the IPD pre-construction process. Again, this is still one answer. And put in the chat what we're directly coming head to head against one of the worst business practices out there for getting jobs, for converting people into a client.
What would be the opposite of this? Bidding.
Exactly.
Bidding to the bottom.
Exactly.
I like
Race
it,
to the
Pat.
bottom.
Answering a Craigslist. Competitive bidding. Competitive bidding is the exact opposite of this, and it is the industry norm, and it's only become the industry norm because people don't have a better way.
Okay. Understand, what do I sell? I sell a process. A process is not about money. It is about following a process. And one of the core concepts we want you to understand is that this converting them and getting them into our process, our integrated project delivery process, okay? Getting those people into our process is not about dollars. You're not trying to educate them about price. What you have to educate them is the process. You're never really educating, except for pre-qualifying, to get them into your process, to start the process of project development. Okay, that's what this is, pre-construction process, project development. To start that, you do not need pricing, because your job changes. And here's a significant shift again. You no longer give pricing to the client or for the client. You don't produce pricing for the client. You produce a process that allows you to work out the price with the client.
And you guys that have been with us for a while know the answer to this, but in the chat, who controls the price of a project? Who controls the cost of a project? Throw it in the chat. Bingo.
95% plus of contractors, when they join us, when I ask that question, they say the contractor controls the price. Guess
Right.
what? The contractor doesn't control the price. The client does. It's their scope, their process, their project, their dreams, their pricing levels, their selections, their stuff. So your job is to work your process and understand that there's kind of two processes. Okay, this is a process that's built into this process.
It's a sub-process.
Yeah. Okay.
Rick,
It
the
is
other thing
designed
that's,
to get pricing with the client, not for the client.
and the other real benefit of doing that is you get paid to develop with the client.
Okay.
So solving what problems?
Money,
And
time,
How do we solve
And-
time with this process?
eliminate tire. Oh,
Except for what Jeff said.
yeah,
Yes, you're eliminating tire kickers. You're eliminating someone that says, I don't want to follow your process. Bye. Don't work for them.
Felicia.
They are not your client. You want first class tickets.
Right.
Okay. Now, all of this, actually, let's just pause there. Insight on this. What have you learned so far? Just by having, your own thoughts in your own process about how you're developing this in your business. What we're really interested in here is the 5 answers. How well have you implemented the 5 answers?
Well,
But-
there's only 4 so far. So
Yep.
Right. How about this one? The PSA process. And is it making sense? And are you doing it the way that we say? Where this isn't, the entry point is never pricing. And the entry point or the process point is never for, it's with.
does that make sense? Everybody clear on that? What the difference is between for and with? Let's throw a yes, yep, thumbs up in the chat, or yes in the chat, thumbs up on your screen. Fantastic. I love it. Good stuff, guys.
One of the reasons that this saves you time and money is that this is part of your sales model. Remember on that other chart, we showed you the sales model concept, things that are involved in the sales model. Guess what happens when you're completely burned out on your sales model because it wasn't working? How successful are you at sales when you are completely burned out to the max? Does the client pick up on your attitude?
Yep.
Their frustration? Yeah, Alex, it leads to heart attacks, divorces. Okay. I
Worse
have,
from your client. For
I
sure.
have seen this with clients. Okay. Poor health, marriage issues, all kinds of stuff if you can't get this right. But I want you to understand, if you don't get this right, your clients can sense it. They sense this, your frustration. They sense that you don't really want to be there. They sense that Pete, I got to hear this story about how you sold a PSA to your wife. We're going to figure that one out here in a
That's
little bit.
a first.
Yeah. Pete already holds the record of most pre-construction agreements sold before he even became a client. So from new concept to already sold. So you guys are going to have to work on your implementation game. But this is how we start to smooth out the attitude and the overwhelm in the sales process, so that we don't carry that into our sales meetings, where clients can sense what's going on, sense the vibe of the room, and go, you don't really want my project. I don't sense that you can actually deliver my first class ticket. Okay. I don't think that this is going to be a journey that I want to be on with you. Okay. You get rid of tire kickers, you save time, you say no early. This allows you to say no early. We want you to be that no factory. Again, we sell tacos. If you want burgers, go somewhere else. Okay. Which then leads to our next phase. Can anybody guess what do you think it's going to be? This has all been leading somewhere.
What would the topic be? If we're talking about a target market, what product we have, a delivery method for that, and the conversion tool to get there, what's the final topic? Throw your answer in the chat. Last chance. Money. Pat says money. Success.
You're all close but wrong.
Rick's favorite saying.
The question is, if this is what I want to do and this is how my business model is going to be set up, then last thing that we really need to solve is where am I going to find these clients? Where will I find them? How do I get them? And really what we're talking about here is, as the topic is the lead source. How do I get these people? Okay. Where will I find them? Again, this has to do with being a referral based or referral dependent company versus a lead engine versus fastest path. Do you need a website? Do you need to pay $10,000 to house? Do you need to lock up Angie's List for your zone? The Tooth Fairy does not deliver them, Adam. Sorry to disappoint. Where will I find these leads? And in fact, the answer is the workshop we just had with Adam. And you guys, I will make that available to you guys because we recorded that. A lot of you guys didn't even know because it was kind of spur of the moment that was happening. But the answer is, where do we find these people? Again, one answer. Designers and architects. This is where we're going to get these leads. These leads represent multiple benefits, and I'm not even going to go into a whole lot of detail because you guys need to watch that other workshop, and I will go and get you guys the lead or the link for that workshop where Adam describes the process that we recommend, the singular answer for shifting all of this. If you're starting from scratch and you say, Well, I only have low-sized jobs with poor clientele, and they are not enough. There's not enough meat on the bone, and my sales cycle's too long, and I've been bidding them the wrong way, and I don't have the things in place. I don't have good messaging. I don't have a good website. I don't show up anywhere. I'm relatively invisible. Guess what? Right now, especially while it's boom time, people need builders. They need the problem that they have solved by someone. And the people that go to designers and architects are proving that they are serious about solving their problem because they're already spending money. They're serious about their problem because, or generally speaking, the job size is higher because they're going to a professional to help solve a larger problem rather than some small solution, okay? If you guys said that we're a design build company and I don't need those designers and architects, or I want to compete against them, I would tell you to rethink that. If you're having problems with profitability, time, and impact in your business, what is the first order priority of your company? Are you a design services company or are you a construction company? Where do you make your money? Put it in the chat.
Jason says both. Jenna says design services. Well, that's true for you, Jenna.
For Jenna, it is.
Yep.
Jenna 100% gets to own that. That is true.
You guys are
services.
construction companies.
And
Exactly.
you got it.
You
Yep.
guys are construction companies. You need to solve the problems and the needs for a construction company first. You build stuff.
Build
Exactly.
stuff. Exactly.
Ultimately, the outcome of following your process and solving a problem for someone still is construction. It's still hammers and nails and screws and bricks and sticks. We get back to that eventually, okay?
Yep.
But that's the first order priority, is that you have to solve for your construction company. And if you saying that, well, I have design build or I have a design department and you can't function correctly and it's not working, then take your eyes off of that for a second and say, what does my company really need? And just say, yeah, we're still going to be design build, or take that same kind of philosophy and we're just going to bring it into IPD, which is the same thing as how we're going to deliver all of this stuff, a team. I have a team of designers that I work with, and I'm happy to recommend one. And you can still take the philosophy of IPD and design build as you go and approach designers and architects. Now, you're not going to ask them just to give you leads. You're not begging for something. You are trying to say, I am trying to build my team that matches my process for these kind of clients. And I'm trying to build that long-term relationship for people that can work with us within this context so everybody wins. Okay? Just to give you the hint about how this works.
You
Thoughts
guys
on
see
this? And we're gonna use the time here differently now. We're gonna shift away from this, but what's impacted you either on that process or the overall, having looked at this? And if it's been helpful to get clarity on 5 answers, I want you to do 5 things. First class tickets, have a process, follow the model for your production or your delivery method, use PSAs as your conversion tool, and you get leads from designers and architects.
Now, that doesn't mean you can't get leads somewhere else, but understand that the fastest path to first class tickets goes back to designers and architects. They're already working with people who are willing to pay money to solve their problem. They're willing to work with you to do the same thing and willing to pay for it. They've already proven that they placed the value on that. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes, in the chat, if it makes sense. Let's go.
And there are contractors in this
Yes.
group right now that rely 100% on architects and designers for their
Exactly.
needs.
As James is still in here, I think James, in the chat, if you've got a chance, throw in the last 3 jobs you've got, where they came from. I don't know if he's still listening, but I know what the answer is.
There he is,
Architects.
architects.
Bingo. Average job size, James. What's the last 3 jobs you did? Roughly. Definitely architects and designers. Thanks, Isaac. Fantastic. Yes, learn the hard way. Developers use architects to vet projects. Okay.
And Rusty, you're not allowed to fire your wife or let her quit. Okay.
Rick, you turned your screen.
This is what happens when you have an alarm go off on your phone.
Oh, oh. Developers are too price conscious. Good point, Adam.
Yep. Let's go dollar wise. James. Last 3 jobs came from architects. You can just say an average if you want.
I don't know if his calculator can handle that. Okay, awesome. Well, you guys get the point. Thanks, Rick. I put you
Yeah.
back up.
Thank you, James.
Average 3 to 5 million. So they're in an exclusive market where architects and designers are producing super high-end projects for them. But they, if you're feeding on a constant diet of architects and designers giving you hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in projects, do you need to go work anywhere else? Do you need to look for anything else in your business? Isaac, 2.7 million from architects with 3 PDAs. Woohoo! That's
Love that.
Oh,
awesome.
Isaac.
Way to go,
Yep.
Isaac. Amazing. All right, so go ahead, Rick.
That's it. That's me. So I think we're up for.
So the topic of the day was clarity. And through this process, I want everybody to tell me what the results are and what you're feeling. Go ahead and throw a couple of words in the chat as far as what this is, how this has changed you, thoughts, ideas, feelings, and do you have clarity? Go ahead and throw it in the chat so that we can get a feel for the impact of this. Clear on the path forward. Fantastic. Thank you, Cameron. What else do we got?
If you really want to be honest, where is it the most broken right now? That's
That's a
what we want
really
clarity
good
on,
point.
is where are we not aligned? Because we want to be able to say, what do we need to get fastest path? What do we need to fix quickly? Where are we not aligned with this?
And yeah, I think that's
And if you don't
actually
want to
gonna
put it
be
in the
more
chat,
important.
be writing down notes so that
Exactly. What's the next thing that you have to work on? If you know the one thing that's broken, you just found the first thing that you have to fix in your business.
Isaac, I want to address your comment right there. First class tickets is about the journey, not the product. So there is still a bit of a mindset that I would challenge, that not everything has to be delivered at the absolute highest level. When we're talking about first class tickets, it's the journey and the process primarily, not that every single part of delivery of the bricks and sticks has to be at the highest level. You need to deliver the journey. Yes, that's about communications. That's about understanding the client emotional roller coaster. That's about scheduling and setting great expectations and other things like that. But it has much less to do with bricks and sticks.
Fantastic. And guys, these are great answers to things that need to be fixed. Conversion, biggest issue with the process is team, delivery, fantastic. Clarity on overall struggle, biggest hurdle is addressing each section. Yep, we'll get there. Okay, need to fix the field management part of the team, hire more, fantastic. This is good stuff, guys. So
Yeah.
go ahead and remove spotlight so we can go back to our group view. If you guys want to switch back to gallery mode, you'll be able to see everybody. And if you have your camera turned off, before we wrap this up today, go ahead and turn your camera on, unmute yourself, give Rick a round of applause, whatever it might be.
Way to go, Rick.
Let's go, Rick. I hope this was really helpful for you guys. Woohoo!
Thank you, guys.
There you go, Rick.
Way to go, Rick.
Good job, Rick.
Nice.
Brent, it looks like Rick was a pain in the neck. What's going on?
Thanks, Rick.
I had a pain event. I had to go get my ice pack and put it on and
Yeah,
ice the shoulder and neck.
I do that sometimes with Rick as well. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's literally a pain in the neck. Don't you see what happens? Yeah.
Now, Kyler, are we going to spotlight a couple people real
Yes, we
quick?
are.
Yeah, so we are going to spotlight a couple of people. First, I'm going to start with Jason. And the reason we're spotlighting Jason, I'm going to tell a little bit of a story about Jason. Jason called us a few weeks ago to get our addresses. And we thought that was a pretty strange request from a client. So, but we were happy to oblige, and I'm going to go ahead and let Jason tell you why that was, and then share a little bit of his success that he's had in working with this process of implementing pre-construction services, design services in their business. So Jason, go ahead and take the stage.
Yeah, so we contacted Contractors Convergence because we had a lot of pieces that were disjointed and not clearly flowing together. And because we had a lot of those pieces, the team were able to identify how we can make everything a lot smoother and run sufficient, and added a few little tiny tools and tweaks, and got us kind of running fairly fast out the door. So one of those things was how we presented our proposals and how we could do them a little bit quicker and get them out the door. So we basically signed in one day about $2 million worth of work. And so I wanted to congratulate the guys. So we have a local distillery up here with some prime spirits. So we sent them all a shot glass and a little bottle of spirits, and we all had a little bit of a toast on that day. So it's pretty cool.
At 10 o'clock in the morning, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, you could follow with the chase of coffee. You were fine.
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't
I
get the
think
coffee
that-
package? Oh, sorry.
The point is, Jason had a very intentional challenge or outcome that he wanted to get, and implemented the things necessary to do that. And I would propose to all of you that set some sort of goal, whatever that is in your business, whether it's a monetary goal or reducing the number of jobs that you do every year or increasing your profit margin, whatever that is, whatever you found to be the most impactful in those 5 answers. And in the problems that we talked about before, set a goal and go attain it, because Jason did that and sold $2 million worth of work in one day, signed $2 million worth of work. Jason, how much work had you done prior to that? What was your previous year?
We've been averaging about 2 million a year. Yeah. And we're probably projected on a 6 million this year.
Yeah. So super fast implementation in the last 12 months by Jason with fantastic results. What do you think the number one thing, Jason, was that helped you get there?
It really was the estimating spreadsheet that we all worked on together, and having that variable margin that we could adjust on each individual line item, and really giving us a higher margin on our riskier deliveries, and a lower margin on our less riskier deliveries, such as subcontractors and materials and things like that.
Fantastic. What do you think the biggest impact for your clients has been?
A quicker turnaround through the design agreement process. As we all know, that the end goal of that process for the client is a fixed price proposal that they can rely on, and getting that out a lot faster to them at the beginning of the process. Once we've gone through all the fun phase of picking out the materials and all that kind of thing, there seems to be a lag of excitement until they get the final price, and the excitement comes back in when they can start the project.
Excellent.
So you're saying you followed a process and used a PSA tool to come up with the pricing with your client, and that
Yeah,
estimate
so-
helped with that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Process, IPD.
yeah, we follow that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we follow that to it. Yeah, we follow that to a T, obviously. You know, the biggest thing is that we have a process that is written out in detail on our marketing side, that basically if you, whatever the job is, being a custom home. So we've got these follow-up emails that we send out right away after communicating with the client, if they call in or email, whatever they do. And we immediately explain the process for success, as we call it. And we have a process for, we call it a signature process here. And we have a signature process for a custom home or an addition or a kitchen or a bathroom. And it's written out in detail what we do step by step by step. And so some of them are 37 steps, some of them are 150 steps. But the client sees in detail exactly what they're going to get from us if they go with us in detail as far as what all the deliverables are. And that puts a lot of doubt out of their mind, and that they also know that they are going to just not get a toilet, but they are getting the exact toilet that they picked out with our designers. They're getting the exact tile that they picked out. And there's no, hey, I thought we were getting this, I thought we were getting that during or after the project. And so they're all very happy knowing all that information. And so that's the immediate, we set that out. We let them know that we're a design build firm. And so basically they're going to get what we think the project will cost right up front. They get a ballpark figure because we just basically say, hey, the last 10 projects were this amount. This is probably where this is going to go. Either they are good with that, or they say, you know, goodbye. And that's just not our ball game, which basically gets rid of the people that are not going to go into a design agreement with us. And we don't want them anyway, because there's just a mystery that's going out there. So let's say that we make it to the on-site meeting with them, and we'll give them the ballpark figure, and they're still ready to go. Then we basically got a presentation book that tells the client about our history, about our stability, about how we're involved in the community, and how we're leaders in the community. Then they basically can go through and see what our design agreements look like before they enter one. They can see the language of it. They can see what our proposal is going to look like, and example proposals in there. And then they go into the details of, again, each one of those step-by-step process, depending on whatever project they're running on. They can read through that and have questions. We answer that right away. And then in the end, we kind of, in the back end of the book, we show them what's on basically our lead carpenters' trucks and our superintendent's trucks. And it's even a more detailed spreadsheet that they are comfortable with, that the client, that they know that our guys are checking off every day what the next step is in the process, so that they're thinking ahead of when they're going to get the tile order. We're just not ordering it. Oh, by the way, I think we need this, and we're like 6 weeks out and we didn't think about that. So now we got to delay 6 weeks. They know that we're pre-ordering, we're pre-doing all of the inspections. We're just on top of it, and they really appreciate that process part of it. And then we bombard them again. Then we let them think about it, and we bombard them again by leaving a leave behind package with all the exact same information. So they probably receive this exact same information 3 or 4 times during the process until it soaks in. And then we basically get to the point of, do you want to do a design agreement or not? And it's not a mystery to them because they've already had time to read, or they've seen examples of the design agreements. So they move either forward, or they say, no, thank you, that's not for us. So that's kind of the process that we work on.
That is fantastic. And I think one of the keys that you mentioned, and I know has been highly successful because we've talked about that, is that your sales book is extremely detailed in giving examples of how you work throughout the process, from the beginning with your design process all the way through completion and warranty, that you've really put that all into a book that you can show people working examples of how that works. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, so our latest story on that, because we always have a funny story to go along with things, is just yesterday, we had, well, 2 days ago, we had a client email us saying that they had a big long list of things they wanted to do. It was pretty high end, and that if we would work with their designers and if we would let them buy the material. And we just quickly replied back and said, you've read over our process for success, and that's not in line with how we do deliverables. if you want us to be part of your team to construct your project and produce your project, then you'll basically go to design agreement and you'll work with our designers and things like that. He said, thank you, goodbye. Got an email yesterday that says we fired our designer. We want you to go with you guys.
That's awesome, man. That's a
That is
great story.
fantastic.
So just
Congratulations,
stick,
Jason.
yeah, stick to their guns. And if they're the right client, they'll come back to you.
You,
Right.
perfect example. Thanks for sharing, Jason. I really love it. That is great. And I want to pull one other person up here to
Thank you,
the
Jason.
spotlight. Thank you, Jason. If
Yeah,
you guys
everybody
want to
say thanks to
unmute,
Jason.
give
Give him a
Jason a
wave.
round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing. That is great. I'll give you more air horn for Jason. Fantastic. Let's see. So other person I wanted to talk to about this, because they have also had great success in doing this, is let's pull up Alex Slarv and hear a little bit about your process for success, Alex, and a little bit of your journey of what you've done.
Well, hey, everybody. A lot of what Jason is saying is kind of like really resonating with me because it's the same thing that I'm doing. I said no to a client, and then later on they called me back frantically and was like, are you too busy? Are you going to be able to do the work? I'm just so worried, the blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, the explanation of your process and how you sell people, very similar. We put together a little book and we even label it, you know, our process, which is kind of funny because of the conversation we had yesterday and today. Basically, I just tell them, I outline it all. And I go step by step and I go, hey, first you're going to get an estimate, which is just, you know, a universe number. I want to make sure we're in the same universe. We don't even have to be on the same planet. Just, you know, we're all in the Milky Way. And then I say, hey, if we're on the same page there, you know, I'm going to give you quite a range and it's going to be large, but if you're in the same range, then I'll go ahead and put together additional hours for your project and we'll do the PSA. And usually by the time that they actually do this, like I'll go through this whole thing and I'll say, okay, PSA, we do in-house drawings after we get a PSA with actual like, you know, floor plans and elevations, just to kind of put a better polish on what the architect thought that they were going to do versus what the client actually wants to do. We continue to develop their project in-house. We get, you know, pictures from House and pictures from Instagram and all that stuff. Sometimes they'll give us stuff like, you know, the type of chairs they want to put underneath the island. We put together what we call an MA sheet, which is materials and allowances sheet, and we break it all down for them. This is kind of exactly what you guys are just, you know.
All fantastic working examples of what they get with your process.
Yeah, I say we put you on a Gantt chart. We permit your project. We pay for the permit. We bill you for it. We give you this beautiful contract. It's like 40 pages long. It describes everything that you're going to get. And by the time, I never get to the end of this booklet, by the way. Like I have a spiel and I have like a whole thing that I do. I never get to the end. I always get to the point where, when can we sign the PSA? How long does it take to get us started? And I have almost never gotten conversations about the cost, except, is this about right? And they go, yeah, as long as it's less than this, I think we're fine. And they've already, you know, they've already come to terms with the fact that it's going to cost money and it's going to be more than they wanted it to cost. And if they want to do it this way, this is what it is. But yeah, I made this is actually dated at this point. I made this probably a year ago, and I could still go to any job probably and get a PSA with this little binder. This is the gold.
Fantastic, pure gold.
But I will say, like, it did take me working with you guys to figure out what to stick in here and how to feel comfortable navigating it with a client in front of me in their living room or in their backyard or whatnot, because I have this in my brain. Like, this is really just a prop, right? At this point, I have the whole shtick in my brain, and I feel so good about the process. And I do probably feel the same as some of the clients do, as far as comfort knowing that there is a process, and I don't really have to get too excited about any one particular thing that I'm not going to forget or going to say. That there's a process for the whole thing, and a story that you can follow every single time. And it's okay that it's a boring story. It's actually great.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Alex. I really love it. It's good to see working examples. And for you guys, what I'd love to see in the chat is, one, thanks for Alex and for Jason sharing those. You guys already threw a bunch of that in the chat. So thank you, Alex. Really appreciate it. That was great to hear real life feedback. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to unpin this too, unless you have anything else to say about our 5 questions and 5 answers on clarity for direction for your business. Rick, anything to add?
Well, let's just ask Alex really quickly. How many of these do you feel like you've got implemented now that's helping you get the results that you're seeing now?
Well, all of my projects are like this. I probably like over $4 million worth of work signed like this.
Yep.
I'm really a little bit more OCD than I thought I was, and I probably could go a little bit more ham and sign more, but I'm looking at the next year and a half, and I'm just not trying to aggressively pursue anything right now. We're just trying to do a good job by fleshing out all this stuff, because it turns out that this whole process is a lot of work. And if you're going to do what you say you're going to do, it's actually really hard. But it's very realistic. It's very possible, and very profitable and all that stuff. But it's not second nature just yet. You know, it's only a couple of years in. So it still takes, you know, focus and purposeful work to get it fleshed out the way you guys would like.
Well, in reality, you're just still getting a lot of your team really implemented. It's been too many hats for too long, and that's been a struggle. But the fact that you've got your new hires, they're just in the process of getting trained up in all your processes, you know, that's turning the corner for you. But that ultimately means, I think you and I were talking about this earlier, that you're really pretty strongly 4 out of 5 out of this. You have been able to source some of your own leads. Although you work with architects and designers, that's not necessarily every time where the lead source came from. So you're pretty close here. Maybe you're 4.5 out of 5. But yeah, this is great. And Jason, I was going to ask you the same thing. You know, how would you judge alignment right now and the results you're getting from these kind of 5 answers, being able to focus in on these 5 things?
Yeah, I think we talked about this last week, is that I don't do a lot with architects and designers, just because when I have, it's not early enough in the process. And so an architect may have already designed something that's beyond their budget. And so if I can, and I haven't seen the training session yet, and we've talked about that, I need to do that, but I would like to work with them. But it's just getting into the process earlier enough that you can actually kind of control some of the costs and wildness that an architect might suggest, and get it back into the budget of what the client really wants to do.
Got it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great. So you're
stuff.
still, but you do design build, and you're happy to work with designers and architects. So far, you've been able to get leads directly sourced because you have a large web presence and stuff like that. So
Correct. Yeah.
You're closer to having that lead engine that we want. This designers and architects happens to be first step towards that goal.
Right. I say that's our weakest point, I think, right now, is getting that relationships going with those people.
Great. That's
Fantastic.
Really great stories, guys. Really appreciate you being willing to share with the rest of the group.
Couple of things
Really
I want to
great.
leave you guys with is I want this to sink in and for you to think about it. There is a reason why we didn't do the questions and answers attached to this one time. But 2, I really want you to take it and process it and think about how it will impact your business, what one thing you need to work on. If you had the 5 things, if you wrote it down, took a screenshot, great. If not, we're going to go ahead and email that out to you so that you can see it. There will also be a replay available of this. We'll go ahead and send out the recording as a replay for you guys to think about. And then Friday morning, there is a question and answer session where we can just have open discussion, talk about this. You guys can share your stories, your frustrations, whatever works. We want to have that in a group forum so that we can move the needle for every single one of you with where you're stuck right now and what we need to do to get that working. So remember that this is about providing excellent customer experience and about making you guys a higher profit company. No matter what dollar amount you're at, whether you're selling $1 million a year or $20 million a year, it doesn't matter. It's about the profit and the money that you keep and your customer experience. And I do have a visual that I'm going to leave you with as far as that goes, because it's a very simple equation to end up in a happy place with this. So
Before you do that, can I share one thing, Kyler?
Yes,
'Cause
absolutely.
I think we ought
Jeff.
to end with yours, but I do want to mention that any of you that don't have a sales, we call it a prop book. We've just put together a bunch of resources, kind of in an order that makes sense to us with examples. Can I share my screen, Kyler? Is that okay?
Yes, you can.
Sure
Go
can.
for it.
Okay. And I just want to walk through it real quickly. We have an example of about our story. Number 2 is our process for success. 3, some FAQs examples, a question list we put together for FAQs, a sample photo sheet, example testimonial sheet, a new PSA template, a schedule called Starting a Job, an example schedule of a kitchen remodel project, one for a custom home. Then down below, we have a whole list of exterior specifications and selections, interior specs and selections, sample specs, all shown, detailed. An example of why we don't do competitive bidding, the homeowner emotional roller coaster, the little document on how to be a great client, a copy of our standard stipulated sum contract, and the post-completion punch list document. So all of that could be included in a sales presentation book, and we're happy to send those to you as examples if you would like.
That's the
Exactly.
fast shortcut to getting this really implemented. If you don't have these resources, get them, adapt them. Tony and Ben, I think, broke the record as far as implementing a new sales book quickly and getting some of this going. What was there?
Under 30 days. Under 30 days.
I think
From introduction to their first draft of a sales book was actually in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And so I want to call them out for great job implementing, to take those templates, quickly grasping the concepts, making the time to get it right and done. It was super fantastic.
Pat did have a
Absolutely.
question for Jason.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Jason, as far as, because you, I think it was Rick that mentioned the big web presence, just out of curiosity, what, if you can share, obviously, I mean, do you have like a high level SEO? Do you do ads that kind of gain you that high level web presence?
Yeah, so I have a lot of consultants that these guys know about, as far as Michael Stone, and there's a guy named Brian Javelin that's out of Florida, and he basically runs our website, and he's high-end CEO, just customized for remodeling and construction. So he really gets us visible in the communities that we want to be in, and he's constantly updating it, so we're always at the top of the list when people Google search us.
Sure.
So we're constantly giving him projects that we've completed and new content for him to talk about. And that way we're always fresh and at the top of that list. And so that's kind of how we keep that engine going in that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Great
Appreciate it.
question. Thanks, Pat.
And we can
So-
give, and we can, I can give these guys all those contact information if you want to talk to people. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just-
that's
I just wanna
exactly
make
what
sure.
Friday's set up for.
That's
so
what
that we
Friday
can
set
go
up
through-
before, but just remember, one answer. Streamline it. You don't even need a website yet if you can follow this process.
Oh, sure,
okay?
sure. Yeah.
So remember that we're going after, if you want fastest path to the results we're talking about, stay focused.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I'm just asking because, I have a marketing background,
Right.
first. I was very curious.
Fantastic. I love it.
So Kyler, what's your last?
So last slide of the day,
picture here?
the last thing we want to share is if you guys are providing customer experience and you're doing it at high profit amount, no matter what that is, I'm going to leave you with this thought. It's really an equation for your business. Customer experience plus money equals happiness. That's the one thing we're going to leave you with. So today was really about 6 things. There's the 5 things that Rick had and the one thing that I had. I want you guys to all go enjoy your sunset if the sun hasn't gone down yet. And we'll see you all back on Friday if you can make it. I really appreciate you guys showing up. Big round of applause for Rick for putting this whole thing together. Thank you so much. And you guys go out there and kill it. Profit Legends.
Profit Legends. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See y'all.
All right. Bye, guys.